Hello, I'm Valerie Miller, the Executive Director of the Office of Student Financial Aid and Scholarships at Ohio University. Thank you all so much for joining us today. We understand that making an investment in a college education represents a significant undertaking for families. Let me assure you, when you choose the excellent value of the Ohio experience, your investment is a wise one, and the returns last forever. We're proud that in 2022, for the third year in a row, U.S. News & World Report included Ohio University on its list of best value schools. Before our financial aid presentation begins, I'll take just a moment to highlight a few important updates and focus on some of our helpful programs and resources. Our Ohio Excellence Awards, our primary scholarship program for first-year students, is composed of awards designed to recognize the resilience, accomplishments, and diverse contributions of the fall 2023 first-year class. This recently expanded program underscores Ohio's commitment to support our students from admission through graduation and beyond. With interest in Ohio at an all-time high, we're continuing to consider newly admitted high-achieving students for scholarships as availability permits. Additionally, I hope by now you've been introduced to our Ohio Guarantee, part of the Ohio Guarantee Plus. The Ohio Guarantee is our fixed tuition and fees guarantee that ensures your direct costs will stay constant from year to year. We walked the walk on our commitment to affordability, predictability, and cost transparency by providing you level rate tuition, housing, dining, and most fees locked in for 4 years. This was the first program of its kind when we introduced it to the state back in 2015. And while other institutions have followed our lead, Ohio is still the most comprehensive guarantee today. And through the Ohio Guarantee Plus, we're taking that a step further, continually expanding access to our individualized on-time graduation plans and alumni-only scholarships for continuing education, as well as career counseling for life. Now, even if you get overwhelmed in this process, I want to emphasize that you're not alone on this journey. We're here to help you and your family navigate the path to fund your education, and we will be here every step of the way. Our team in the Office of Student Financial Aid and Scholarships is composed of more than 25 caring staff members, many of whom have at least that many years of experience, and who have made a career of helping families plan, navigate, and pay for college. We're committed to supporting you and are dedicated to providing you the information you need to make the important decision to invest in an Ohio education. Our team is available by phone, email, and through both virtual and in-person appointments, and we welcome your questions anytime. Whether you're just getting started on filing the FAFSA, there is still time, or if you want to sit virtually or in person with an expert to go over your financial aid offer and weigh your options, we are here to help and are excited about what awaits you here at Ohio. Thank you for taking the time to join us at Ohio Gateway Day and for trusting us to help guide you through the financial aid process. With that, I will turn this over to my esteemed colleague, Melissa Van Meter, for important information on understanding your financial aid offer. Please stay with us.
Hello, my name is Melissa Van Meter, and I serve as Senior Associate Director of Operations in the Office of Student Financial Aid and Scholarships here at Ohio. On behalf of all of us in the Financial Aid Office, thank you so much for joining us here online for Gateway Day. We've all worked together to make this event a really useful and practical resource, packed with helpful information for students and families. We know that the very words financial aid can sometimes seem stressful, but at Ohio we strive to be just the opposite. Our team is friendly, accessible, and always here to help. We want to bring you easy to understand and transparent information so that you always know how much college will cost and are aware of all of the options and resources available to you to help minimize your out-of-pocket burden. In this session, I'm going to share a 20-minute presentation to help you understand the details and benefits of what's contained in the financial aid offer you received from Ohio University. I'll help you better determine how much attending Ohio University will cost, when you should expect to receive your bill, how the Ohio Guarantee can help reduce uncertainty, and much more. Financial aid offers began being mailed in late February. If you have not yet received this letter, please email us at financial.aid@ohio.edu, and we will be glad to assist you. This presentation will remain online so that you can access it at your convenience once you have your letter. If you have questions during or immediately following this presentation, enter them into the live chat box and one of my trained team members will be happy to answer your questions. Please do not enter sensitive personal or financial information into the chat. Again, feel free to reach out to us anytime at financial.aid@ohio.edu, and we'll be glad to help. And with that, I'll dive right into the presentation. Today I'm going to provide a financial aid offer overview, go into some cost details, do a financial aid review, share out-of-pocket expenses and net price, discuss My Ohio Student Center, and go over some of your next steps before becoming a Bobcat. So for the financial aid overview, we're going to take a look at the financial aid offer that should have been mailed to your home addresses at the end of February. If you haven't received your financial aid offer, feel free to reach out to our office. So you can see the financial aid offer is 2 pages, a front and a back page. We're going to go over the details of the information provided on both pages. So on the front page, you'll see there are estimated direct billed charges, a breakdown of both gift aid and self-help aid. We'll look at the annual offered amount versus the applicable aid, and then look at the out-of-pocket expense. So the very first thing you'll see on the financial aid offer on the front page is your estimated direct billed charges. That's going to show the anticipated tuition and fees amount, an allowance for housing, and an allowance for food. Next is the gift aid breakdown. This is going to include grants and scholarships that you've been offered. The next section is a self-help aid breakdown. That's going to show you any federal work-study funds and federal direct loans that you've been offered. When you look at each of these sections, you'll see there's an annual offered amount and an applicable aid amount. Typically, those are going to match, especially in the gift aid section. But in the self-help aid break down, you'll see that those amounts do differ. Federal work study, for example, does not apply directly toward charges at Ohio University. It's paid in biweekly paychecks to a student based on the hours they've worked. So the applicable aid column shows a 0. For federal direct loans, there's a slight reduction in the amount that will apply toward your charges because there's a required federal loan fee that comes off of the offered amount before applying to your charges. Finally, at the very bottom of the front page, you'll see a paragraph that describes your estimated out-of-pocket expenses. These are your total estimated direct charges minus both gift aid and applicable self-help aid, and it gives you an amount. The goal here is that you'll know now what we anticipate you owing Ohio University when your student joins us in the fall. You'll have plenty of time between now and May 1 to make that final decision based on the amount that you'll owe. On the back page of the aid offer, there's a table that shows the total cost of attendance. This reflects both direct charges and indirect costs. Next, it shows the net price, additional borrowing amounts, and critical next steps for your student to complete. So first, let's take a look at the cost of attendance and net price. As you can see, these are broken down into two sections. The first is tuition fees, housing, and food, with a total estimated direct charges amount. Again, those direct charges are what you can expect to pay to Ohio University in most cases. Below that are the indirect costs. Those include allowances for books, materials, supplies, equipment, transportation, and personal expenses. The indirect costs are ones that students can expect to incur while attending Ohio University, but are not billed directly by Ohio University. The food and the housing allowances are calculated averages. They don't reflect actual residence hall or meal plan cost options. Those have not yet been finalized for the 2023-24 year. However, you can visit the website listed on the table to see what those costs are currently for the 22-23 year to give you an idea of those direct cost amounts. In the next paragraph, there are additional borrowing amounts. So this allows you to know if you need to borrow additionally to cover the out-of-pocket expense. It shows you what that amount is. In this example, it's $9,019. However, you're welcome to borrow additionally up to the overall cost of attendance. To get this amount, we subtract your total financial aid offered from the total cost of attendance. In this example, that amount is $94.19. If a student or family wished to borrow additionally up to this total amount, it would provide a refund to a student each semester to assist with some of those indirect costs. Finally, each aid offer provides individualized critical next steps that a student needs to complete to finalize their financial aid and prepare to join us in the fall. So let's take a look at the cost detail that's provided. Again, on the very first page, we provide to you the expected cost information for your student to join us in the fall. We do this because Ohio University is committed to transparency, and we want to make sure you know exactly what to expect before your student joins us in the fall. This cost information provides you with estimated annual direct charges. If a student plans to live on campus, they'll have the housing allowance and the food allowance in this amount. If a student is anticipated to be a commuter, those amounts wouldn't be in the direct charges section. They're always going to have tuition and fees, and those are estimated for full-time enrollment on the campus and residency displayed. So as you can see in this example, it's for an Athens campus Ohio resident who plans to live on campus. And again, the housing and food allowances provided are calculated averages. Actual costs are going to vary based on students' individual selections. And again, as a reminder, these costs have not yet been finalized for the 23-24 year, but you can visit the website to obtain the 2022-23 cost information. I want to share with you some information about our Ohio Guarantee. The Ohio Guarantee provides a fixed rate for 4 years for tuition, fees, residence hall, and meal plan. This is comprehensive and includes fees starting with orientation fees all the way to graduation fees and most charges in between. It applies for both Athens and regional campuses, for Ohio residents and non-residents. I would encourage you to review the benefits of the Ohio Guarantee Fixed Tuition and Fees program and the entire Ohio Guarantee Plus program at ohio.edu/guarantee. Once finalized, tuition and fees, residence hall and meal plan rates for the entering 2023-24 guarantee cohort will be found on the Office of the Bursar's website. It's important to note that paper bills are not mailed to students' addresses. Students are informed of their account balance by email. Fall semester account balance notices are sent beginning August 1st, and they'll be due on August 21st. Again, they are emailed to students. However, your student can log into their Ohio Student Center and set up authorized users. They can have as many authorized users as they want. That authorized user would then receive an email when account balances are generated and when they're due. Aid must be finalized in order for it to be reflected on this account balance notice. And again, the due date is always going to be the 21st day of each month. So for example, when you're sent your first account balance notification on August 1st, it will be due on August 21st. Any unpaid balance will then be due the next month, September 21st, but a 1.5% late fee monthly balance would be applied. And again, for more information, you can visit ohio.edu/bursar. So let's take a look at the types and amounts of financial aid you might expect to see on your financial aid offer. As I previously mentioned, financial aid on the aid offer is divided into two groups, gift aid and self-help aid. Additionally, there are two columns for each aid type, an annual offered amount, which is the total amount that's being offered, and the applicable aid amount, which is the net amount that could be applied toward your direct charges. The types of gift aid you might see are scholarships and grants. If you've been awarded scholarships at Ohio University, congratulations. I encourage you to view the aid messages on the My Ohio Student Center. This is going to display your enrollment requirements so that those scholarships apply toward your charges. Additionally, it will provide you with the renewability criteria in order to renew those awards for the upcoming years. Grants are also listed. The amounts listed are the annual amounts based on your FAFSA results. It could be prorated if you attend less than full time, and grants and scholarships are both automatically accepted on a student's behalf. In the self-help aid section, you could see Federal Work Study. Federal Work Study is a federally funded employment program. I've listed the website where students can select a position. Students working will receive a biweekly paycheck based on the hours they work, and again, this amount is not applied toward direct charges. It's important to note if your student hasn't received Federal Work Study, there are many other employment opportunities available at Ohio University. We have a unique PACE program, and we have a student hourly employment program that employs several thousand students each semester. You may also see federal direct loans listed in the self-help aid section. If a student wishes to borrow through the Federal Direct Loan Program, they must accept those loans in their My Ohio Student Center. They must also complete a loan agreement and loan counseling. And again, there is a loan origination fee that's deducted from the total amount offered that's reflected in the applicable aid amount. Some additional information about federal direct loans. There are two types, subsidized loans and unsubsidized loans. The difference really is when interest accrues on those loans. So for a subsidized loan, no interest will accrue while a student is enrolled at least half-time. Unsubsidized loans do accrue interest as it's dispersed toward a student's charges. Repayment on both types of federal loans begins 6 months after the student graduates, stops attending, or drops below half-time. So let's look at some more detail in regard to out-of-pocket expenses and net price. One of the best questions you can ask yourself right now is, what is my out-of-pocket expense? The out-of-pocket expense is the amount the student will be expected to pay for the 2023-24 aid year. We calculate that by subtracting your total financial aid from your direct billed charges. The total financial aid includes both gift and applicable self-help aid, so this amount would be different for a student who chooses not to borrow federal direct loans. As I mentioned previously, the amount used for the housing and food allowances are calculated averages and do not reflect actual residence hall and meal plan costs, so that would impact your actual out-of-pocket expense. This amount does not include indirect costs such as books, transportation, and personal expenses. So again, you can see from the financial aid offer, we provide those direct charges to you and provide the gift and self-help aid with the applicable aid breakdown. And at the bottom, you can see your student's unique out-of-pocket expense, which is an estimated amount that you'd owe to Ohio University. In this example, we can see it's tuition and fees, plus housing and food allowances, minus gift aid, minus applicable self-help aid, and that's how we calculate the out-of-pocket expense. Your overall cost of attendance is the total amount of college costs. It includes direct charges and indirect costs. It's important to know that financial aid cannot exceed a student's total cost of attendance, including federal student loans. Now let's take a look at net price. Net price subtracts your gift aid from your total cost of attendance. This amount is different than your out-of-pocket expense. This amount does include indirect costs such as books, transportation, and personal expenses. The only aid included in this calculation is gift aid, which is grants and scholarships. So you can see it's your total cost of attendance minus gift aid to calculate your net price. Again, this is different than your out-of-pocket expense. So at this point, a great question is, will I need more money? Again, if you accept your federal direct loans, you will owe the out-of-pocket expense provided to Ohio University. If you want to borrow additional funds to cover indirect costs, that amount is provided on your financial aid offer in the paragraph under the cost of attendance chart. So again, we provide with you your out-of-pocket expense, which will cover the charges to Ohio University, and also the total amount you're eligible to borrow. So if you want to borrow additionally to assist with your out-of-pocket expense, there are some loan options. The first is the parent loan for undergraduate students, otherwise known as the PLUS loan. In this loan, the parent is the borrower. The parent must be creditworthy or have a creditworthy cosigner. Repayment can be deferred until 6 months after the student graduates, stops attending, or drops below half-time. The other option is a private loan. In this case, the student or the parent could be the borrower. A student borrower must have a creditworthy cosigner, while a parent borrower must be creditworthy or have a creditworthy cosigner. Repayment on these loans also begins 6 months after the student graduates, stops attending, or drops below half-time. It's important when you're looking at our aid offer, along with other aid offers, that you're comparing out-of-pocket expenses, not necessarily scholarship offers. Remember also that our financial aid offer displays annual amounts, while other schools may show 4-year amounts. Financial aid is divided over the fall and spring semesters, which correlates with when charges are applied per semester. Finally, let's take a look at some My Ohio Student Center screenshots. This is a snippet of the My Ohio Student Center. You can see on the right there is a to-do list. This is going to list any action items you need to take to finalize your financial aid at Ohio University, as well as complete any actions for other enrollment services offices. There's also a finances section that lists your account information, such as account balance, payments, and links to authorized user applications. There's also a financial aid section where students can view and accept or decline their financial aid. If we take a look at the financial aid section and you select to view financial aid, you'll then be given the year, which you'll select 2024. In this section, you can see annual and semester amounts, both offered and accepted. In this scenario, the loans have not yet been accepted. So if you look toward the bottom, you can see Federal Direct Subsidized Loan and Federal Direct Unsubsidized Loan, with the accepted amounts at 0. There's also, as I mentioned, a term breakdown for both fall and spring semester. On the Accept Decline Award link, students can go in and accept the full amount offered, accept a reduced amount, or decline loans, and submit those loan decisions. There are some next steps that are important for your student to finalize their aid at Ohio University. You can follow these critical next steps on your financial aid offer. Additionally, you can visit ohio.edu/financial-aid-deadlines to look at a calendar of activities that you need to complete before joining us this fall. To summarize your next steps, visit My Ohio Student Center, complete all action items on your to-do list, accept or decline any loans being offered, and review award information. If you're taking federal direct loans, you'll also need to visit studentaid.gov to complete the loan agreement and entrance counseling. If you've been offered federal work study, you can go to webapps.ohio.edu/FAOS to search for and select a position for the 23-24 year. If you need additional payment options, you can also visit our website to learn about the monthly payment plan or information to apply for a PLUS or private loan if needed. Thank you for joining me today. If you have questions now, feel free to enter them into the live chat box, and one of my team members will assist you and answer those questions now. If you think of questions later on, feel free to contact our office by emailing or calling or stopping by Chubb Hall. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you this fall.